Hello, audience. It is your wild, wise witch, woman, friend, teacher, bullshitter, whatever you want to call me. Today, I wanted to actually speak about the dangers of deifying your teachers, including ever deifying me. Please don't put me on a pedestal and then cancel and burn me to the ground, because that's not fair and kind. And it's rather stupid for us to create these codependent power pedestal dynamics, which granted we all do, including myself. So I've had a few people come to me and ask me about Susun Weed, one of my greatest teachers and transformational guides during a period of time in my life, who is now being cancelled for being abusive, a broad term. And before I get on to dear Susan, I wanted to first just put into context the importance of trusting your own intuitive guidance as to who calls you in to learn from. So I just shared an intuition meditation with some witches who did my masterclass recently, and in there I explained that sometimes your intuition guides you to something that doesn't always necessarily feel good or right, but it's actually helping you to re-establish your inner tracking system or reclaim a part of your power through the trial that the intuition takes you to. So for me, in my journey of reclaiming the parts of myself as a woman, Susun Weed came through as a strong go and meet this woman, go onto her land, there is wisdom there. And I was fucking terrified at the time, because I knew that this woman had quite a sticky reputation and was known to be quite a radical bitch and witch and old Baba Yaga kind of character, living in the woods literally with her goats, like a mad woman. But something inside of me was like, I need to be there. So I got in my car and I drove from New York to upstate, literally shaking as I entered onto her land. I could feel my soul like shaking in her boots. I was just terrified. And as I drove up and pulled onto her property, she actually screamed at me, like literally screamed at my window. That was my first experience of meeting her, and told me to like get the fuck off her garden because I was parking the car incorrectly. Anyway, I was so terrified, and then I've got this woman screaming at me, and it was a lot. And anyway, through my journey of apprenticing with her, I realized so much of my nice girl teacher's pet behavior was just being exposed in all forms, and she really awoke all the archetypes for me and grounded me in like this no bullshit powerful woman, and really helped me to see where I was captured in my relationship at the time. And ultimately the experience was probably one of the most pivotal moments in my entire life, where I literally course corrected, got out of an engagement, and began my journey of teaching and coaching and really living a free and embodied life. And so when I have people come up to me and ask me, how can you have worked with this woman? She has abused students and abused her power. My reflection and response is always the same. My experience with Susan was amazing. I will not speak to other people's experiences. And that's also why the intuition piece is so important, because teachers come in to sometimes like radically shake shit up. And if your soul didn't want that or is not ready for that, then it may look like a very different experience for you. It's also important to know when the teacher has kind of had their time and you can exit from the teaching. So this actually did happen for me with Susan, where I realized like, I got it, sister. Thank you for all the screaming. Thank you for helping me find my voice. Thank you for not turning me into a victim. Thank you for seeing my power and reflecting it back to me. Thank you for being so radical, because I'm sorry there were so many other teachers that were just like spraying the same bullshit, love and light, feminine story that really wasn't going to break me out of my victimization, and in particular my wounding of constantly being violated. So I needed to get angry. Now that I understand somatics, I was stuck in a freeze, fawn, good girl response due to what had happened to me. And so I needed to get the fire back. And she literally sparked the fucking fire. She helps women get angry. And we need to activate that anger to sometimes journey out of a frozen nervous system. And then after that, I didn't need to keep getting angry. I could actually move more into grace and slowness and, yeah, a kind of slow build healing journey, which I'm now on. But at the time, I didn't have time to slow down. I needed to make really important decisions in my life. And so that's again why, like, your intuition will tell you where you need to go. And funny enough, in lockdown, obviously I had my own opinions on the jab and not wanting to take it, and still had put Susan a bit on a pedestal in terms of like her wisdom on nature and herbalism and health. And when I found out in a podcast that she had decided to take the jab and was actually advocating for it, I literally felt like my whole world was crumbling. And it was so funny for my partner to watch, because I just could not believe that she would possibly want to do this and take the vax. And I was just, I felt like everything crumbled, because, you know, if Susan was taking it, then shouldn't I take it? But I've been saying to everyone that they mustn't take it. And oh my God, what are people gonna think? I'm so bad. Like, I've got it wrong this whole time. I've been stuck in a rabbit hole of conspiracies. And I just, like, it felt like my whole world was crumbling. And it was in that moment that the pedestal of Susun Weed died. And I realized, oh my God, just because this teacher has now decided to do something for her own journey as an old woman living in America, like for whatever reason, decided that it was okay for her, does not mean that it negates every teaching that she's had prior to that. And doesn't mean that I can't still respect her and, you know, have differing opinions about personal medical choices. So yes, when you put your teacher on a pedestal and make them out to be this like perfect person, which I think we all do in some ways to people we respect, we kind of dehumanize them, and we take away their right to have different points of view and feelings, and to be sometimes not in integrity or not, you know, right. And the same for me. Like, I want to know that I can do things that don't align with everything that you may think of me. So it was wonderful, because I actually saw her like laughing at me, being like, yes, bitch, I can do what I want. Like, why are you still putting me on a pedestal? I never told you to do that. She was very clear that she's not your friend. She's not like your perfect teacher. She's going to be really exposing all your shadows. And that was a shadow that I had of still thinking that she knew better than me with regards to my own health. So I have to say, I bless her. I'm so grateful for her. Yes, she's absolutely out of line. I'm not a teacher that stays in the line. I'm not going to speak to any abuse, because it didn't happen. I didn't see it in my realm of experience with the other women. What I saw was a radical teacher who warned you, this is a shamanic experience. And unless you understand the shadow and the shamanic initiation, which literally feels like you might die, don't go and hang out on her land in the middle of nowhere. I mean, she writes there, like, please don't come here and think you're going to have a, you know, kumbaya time. She is devoted to radical awakening. She's devoted to speaking her truth, to exposing so much of the bullshit that's happening in women's empowering spaces and this new feminist movement of thinking that everybody is a woman. And yeah, she just wasn't going to keep quiet about those things. And so of course she's come under the firing line. And frankly, yeah, I know that I've been in the firing line too. And just listen to your own gut, listen to your own intuition. You know, sometimes we do need to rip the band-aid off and change direction and realize that we're stuck in something that's not serving us. And sometimes we want the smooth, soft, tender holding of a teacher that guides us to safety, you know. And I'm in that journey with myself now, where I've established the necessary boundaries due to activating my anger, which was so important in the journey, to now come to this place where I can actually do somatics and trauma training and see how, okay, actually there's a nervous system element here that wants long, slow integration, and that for true embodied healing and aliveness, there is an importance of grace and yeah, really listening, really being gentle in how I work with my clients, especially because I can be the shamanic witch and activate and trigger and, you know, expose your shadows and your wounds. But for true transformation to stay and sustain, there is an importance of this slow process. And so I'm seeing how my work is partly the triggering witch, archetypal bitch, slut, like, yeah, really being that projection field and trigger for the women who follow me. And now with my private clients, I'm no longer doing short journeys. I'm having 3 to 6 months with my clients, because whilst I want you to see your shadow, I also want to be there for the slow integration, so I can really support you, yeah, to make changes that last, to feel the beauty that comes after the fire, you know, after the death, the process of your rebirth, which is a slow, sensual, yeah, timeless journey that you can't put a number to. And I'll share more about how I want my business to be the pace of the earth, to be this cyclical, yeah, experience of blossoming and dying. And I have to say that, yeah, Susan really was an important part of my death cycle. So yeah, this was just a little share on trusting your intuition with who you feel called to listen to, which teachers, which mentors, which guides are speaking the language of your soul in this particular moment, knowing that in a couple of months' time, you may look at my profile or Susan's profile like I did with her and think, you know what? Like, I got you, I'm good, I got the downloads, like, you're irritating me now. I'm in a different stage of my journey, and this no longer resonates. And that's completely okay, because I can still hold all the wisdom that she gave me during that period of my life and really respect her for it. Because to be that kind of teacher, you got to be brave. You got to be really brave, because she gets non-stop aggression and yeah, like attacks at her. And she, you know what? She's living her life. She's living her truth. And I really respect that. And yeah, I hope that was helpful in any way. And I look forward to sharing more, yeah, intuitive downloads that come through. Have a beautiful day. I am in the most glorious setting. I hope you get to hear the birds. I am on the move for the next few weeks. Just, yeah, living on the road for a while and traveling. Such a blessing. Lots of love.